Stuart, I do. Um, I start a new job tomorrow, and I was wondering if you could give me just some guidance on maybe how to approach this new challenge.
Starting a new job.
Yes.
Well, what better way to approach it than be grateful? You have something new, you have something maybe a little different, a new challenge in your life, a new opportunity to grow in your life. I mean, what better way to approach it than that? Not to go in there being afraid of the job or whatever, but you're going to fail, but just go in there with gratitude. I don't know if you're getting more money to do this new job, whatever it is, be grateful for it. And go into it with say, okay, here is a new cycle in my life. I have a new opportunity to learn things, to grow, to develop myself. And if you go in with that kind of an attitude, I mean, what can go, you will, no matter what happens in the job, you will come out a better person. I mean, that's just my suggestion. Don't go in there knowing better than everybody. Go in there saying, what can I learn from everybody who's been on this job longer than me? Don't go in there with an attitude that you know more. Go in there with deference to people and what they can teach you, and respect for the people that are on the job. I mean, it's not too difficult to understand.
Thank you.
Just make you more human in terms of your approach to your life, which I think is great. And new jobs are, I mean, it's just breaking out of the old and going into something that's a new test for you, a new opportunity for you. It's great, be grateful. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I mean, every time I go into a new cycle in my life, I don't go into the cycle knowing better than what I have to learn from the new cycle. It's always to me an opportunity for me to become more humble, more human, have more humility and listen more and learn from the things that are being told me in the new cycle, whatever it happens to be, instead of going into it and just, knowing better than everyone else and you're going to change everything, and that doesn't work. It creates a lot of resentment and anger amongst people, but just to be able to listen is such a good quality, such an extraordinary quality. To be able to listen to what the newness of life has to bring to you. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, can you talk about true presence?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, I talk about this all the time, Wendy. True presence. I don't know. It just sounds like a difficult state of being. But true presence, or being, better said, being in the now, being in the moment, being centered inside, being grounded inside, not spending your life bouncing from the future to the past, but living your life in the moment. And again, for the 8 billionth time, you can't do this unless you have developed a system inside that's truly strong enough to do it. So having a, balance, having a great deal of chi, being grounded in yourself, it gives you the capacity to live in the moment. You have the strength to do it, to keep your mind from bouncing from the past to the future, back to the past, and forgetting that we live now. We live in this moment. We don't live in the past or the future. And I think this is an amazing thing to learn in life. And it really is essentially one of the best things you can learn in practicing this meditation. How to build an inner life that is strong enough to allow you to live your life in the present. And frankly, it's the only thing we have. I mean, people examine the past, they try to get answers. Yeah, that's all well and good. I used to be a history buff myself. I used to read lots of history when I was younger. But, it doesn't compete with the development of an inner life that gives you the strength to live in this moment. And if you live in this moment, you will receive, all of the vastness of knowledge in the universe. You will receive all the wisdom in the universe because your mind will not be interfering with it. And it'll come through you, it'll ground you, it'll build you, it'll teach you things that are beyond the ken. They're beyond the ordinary. They're of such a profound nature that they can only be received by somebody who is truly living in the present. The mind isn't big enough to comprehend these things. So you need to be grounded, centered, you need to, be in such a condition in yourself that you experience these things as you live your life in the moment. Now, this might sound like an extremely difficult thing to do, and it is, but it's a very possible thing to do if one truly learns how to use the instruments we were born with to accomplish this. And I think meditation is about learning how to accomplish this. And what's wonderful is we all have those tools in us. We don't have to go to the hardware store to buy them. They're there. They exist inside of us. And just depends upon whether or not we develop the craft. And if we develop that craft, then, what comes is this amazing flow of energy that emanates from what's infinite in the universe, knowledge, wisdom of an extraordinary nature, beyond all human comprehension, but part of living experience, part of living experience. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Wendy. I mean, Shakespeare said, what a work of art is he? And it's true. A human being is the most extraordinary work of art to ever manifest in this universe. Each individual human being is an extraordinary work of art. And the consciousness in each individual human being can expand and develop depending entirely upon how much they work on themselves, how deeply they go into themselves, and how, they work inside not to be trapped in Maya and illusion and, things that are of an objective reality that they're just born, they live, and they die. What we're trying to do is connect with what's infinite in the universe, the soul of the universe. Does anyone else have a question? I hope this is clear. I mean, this might be a little esoteric. It might be a little metaphysical. I mean, I don't know. I try to make it as practical as I can to bring it down to the earth, to a level of understanding that all of us can grasp, including myself. I mean, I don't want to flounder around in the metaphysics all the time of things because it just makes you into a space cadet, frankly. It's all got to be made practical, usable in the world, because this is where we live. We don't live in the cosmos, we live here. And this place that we live is a part of the cosmos. But it's a place where we have to have a high degree of practicality or spiritual practicality in order to deal with the kinds of tensions and pressures that this world manifests around us. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Can you hear me, Stuart? Can
Yes,
you hear Tom?
I hear you
Oh,
loud and
good.
clear, Tom.
Oh, good. It seems that the deepest tensions are unwound from high above. Could you speak about that?
Right, the deepest tensions are unwound from high above.
Like that the vertical work is the way through some very long-standing deep tensions. Is that the way we work?
Well, these tensions are not, high above in the cosmos. They're deep inside us. Things that we have buried for God knows for lifetimes and repressed inside us that need to be, it's like drilling for oil. You have to go through layers of rock and dirt and whatever you go through, sometimes drilling thousands of feet into the earth in order to hit a gusher of oil. Well, we're no different. We have all these layers of tension inside us that go very, very deep. And we need to be able to use this meditation exercise to literally drill through those layers of tension. Now, this isn't an easy job. There's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of problems doing this. People give up. But on the other side of all of that, strata of tension, I mean, there's this gusher of spiritual energy that completely revitalizes us and allows us to go through a resurrection inside ourselves and to totally get to another level of consciousness. But we have spent lifetimes building all of that striatum, of tension, of repression, of guilt, of fear, of insecurity that just, is, but, the meditation practice is truly like working on a drilling rig, to plummet to the depths of oneself and hit those gushes of spiritual energy that resurrect us, that enable us to, experience consciousness on a much higher level and to live with, not only just experience it, but to be able to live with it every day. So if we don't do this, you understand, it just keeps building more stratas of tension inside. I mean, just, as people get older, just look at what happens to them. I mean, I think if everyone just would take an hour and just go to some old age home somewhere or some retirement community and just see the way people live after a lifetime of building all of that, those stratas of tension inside themselves, of repressing everything. And eventually, it's almost scary. And to me, what's really scary is not even, okay, people live out their lives and they're calmer and God bless them. And, you know, and whatever it is they have to go through, they go through. But what's scary to me is that we all have the tools to transform this. We're born with them. And we have to come to teachers and, you know, who can show us how to use those tools so that we can drill through the stratas of repression and get to that gusher of spirituality that completely resurrects us. We become children of God, you know, consciously. We're all children of God anyway, but it becomes a conscious child of God living here in the sacred nature of life. And life is only sacred if we're sacred in ourselves. You know, when we attain that inside, then everything around us becomes really very sacred. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. You know, just to finish this, there's a wonderful painting in the Frick Gallery in New York of St. Francis by an artist named Bellini. It's an extraordinary painting. And he's standing on a cliff, and you can see the radiance in him, and everything around him is a light like you have never seen in your life. I mean, it's just the light of God. And you can see that the openness, the love, the sheer radiance inside this incredible being, you know, is allowing that light to manifest in front of him. And the whole painting is that light is like something you've never seen in your life. It's so extraordinary. And this is what I'm talking about, you know, that kind of radiance of spiritual and sacred energy that emanates from a person who truly is connected to God. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, so there'll be meditation on Thursday. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Again, you know, I didn't expect to talk about any of these things. I never know how these classes are going to wind up. And your presence here has created a miracle for me in my life. And I'm just grateful to all of you. God bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Just remember, you know, there's 4 of these classes a week. It'll take up about 4.5 hours of your week, which is about 165 hours long, maybe more. Try to make this, because this is getting to be really something extraordinary that's going on here. So God bless you. I hope to see you all on Thursday.
Thank you, Stuart. Good night.
Stuart.
Good night.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.